But hold up, I got something to say.
It's just a familiar prison lawyer, the smoothest podcast, host of podcast history, episode 66. In the grill pit, I'm gonna have the son of the great Milton Kelly, who's responsible for the Marquette team. He gonna talk to us today. What you got to say, man?
I used to wonder like why rappers these days get paid so much money. It ain't because they talented, it's because the message they bring fits the agenda. You know, it like culminates with the ghetto, meaning it's a certain area that's oppressed. It ain't just material or finance, it's education too. And then influence. That's where the rap came from, because a society's influence is the ones that we look up to, and our political leaders these days happen to be rappers and actors who don't give a fuck about the black struggle, but they're paid to help us digress.
But I like what you said about the reason Jay-Z is in this position is to keep 1 million of us down.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They pay one to book 1 million.
Book 1 million. That's why he got that. So people can sit around talk about Jay-Z all the time, want to be like Jay-Z. But I want to know who owns Amoco. I want to know who owns all that copper. They got copper mines for. I want to know. You know who up there in Virginia, Minnesota, where they got the quarries, and that's a multi-billion-dollar industry that they can control. So that's what we need to be talking about. Like nobody's trying to talk about that. The reason I brought it up is because it's easy for us to get sent off track, and believe in something that's not that's actually our ultimate demise, and have somebody look up at somebody and be like, well, he living that life, why can't I? When it's not even the life you want to live.
Guess that's why they pay him. You know, it's called a messiah, but the opposite messiah.
Mm-hmm.
Not the positive messiah, but the negative. Things that's not tangible. That create crime, to make people reach for things that's not tangible for them. Meaning, I want to be rich like Jay-Z. But if you're uneducated about business, how else can I get rich like Jay-Z besides selling dope?
Yep. Robbing somebody.
Or when the norm is being dictated by rappers, and the norm,
they're gonna infiltrate it. They're gonna corrupt it, and they're gonna make it go the opposite way it began.
Exactly.
Like that. If you talk about the Panthers, because they couldn't really control that message. It's too militant. What they did is they destroyed them. They vilified them, but they also went in there and infiltrated them, and they put them up. They put them in prison for these bunk ass crimes.
Hey, look, the same thing that makes Jay-Z effective is the same thing that keeps us down. It's like, all right, we can give you the wealth, but you can't be for your people. You hear me? You can't affect your people positively. You know what I mean? As long as your wealth is based on the contingency of corruption and making a degenerate out of a righteous person. You feel me? Like if Jay-Z was speaking 100% education and wealth, or our ancestors in the history of this country, Jay-Z wouldn't be Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z had to introduce himself as the lowest form of a man in the black community, which is a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay-Z came out the gate like, no, lift y'all self up by the bootstraps. Jay-Z, you wouldn't know Jay-Z.
Right. And then, and with that being said, you know, even if
I'm gonna call my Uber.
when you said rich, when he said wealth, he mean riches, because Jay-Z is rich, not wealthy. He might own a lot of things, but in order for you to be wealthy, truly wealthy, you have to own something in the ground. You got to own a resource. That's how you become wealthy. You have to own something like I said, when we start talking about billionaires and the black billionaires and things like that, you got to give me one black billionaire that owns, even in a conglomerate that owns something that's a resource. They don't own that. Until a black person gets a resource and owns a factory, owns a plant, owns Ford, not the executive director of Ford, but the actual owner of Ford, then we could talk about it. We're not talking about barbershops. We're talking about owning something where they can't come through and do anything from you. That's the difference that Donald Trump had. He knew he was wealthy and they couldn't touch it. That's why he was unstoppable and he said what he wanted to say, because he knew his purse strings wasn't being pulled by the white liberal media, by anybody. So that's why they had a problem with him right now. That's SAF Moya Prison Lawyer, voice of the voices, IGSTS. In this next episode, We're gonna have my man Chavez gonna come in, talk to us about his father, his legendary father, and stop it for a second. I want to see his father.
Incarcerated in the presence of a father, the importance of it in a household, you know, and how the system is like predicated on separating black families and taking fathers away from situations that would create a better environment in the neighborhoods that we come from. Because it's always important to have a mother and a father, and how the judicial system is set up to separate and destroy that tie that we have with each other.
Level up. Can't stop the shine. Don't even stop. Feel like I'm 5 plus 5. It's 10. SF Mo is on 10. So check us out. Episode 66. IGSTS. Subscribe. Like.
Follow. Share.
In the media these days, because the truth is hidden from us, and they give us all of the fantasy and the false ideologies. So for somebody to speak on the streets and really wasn't from that, you know, you give people a chance to get the truth from those who really lived it instead of those who observed it and rap about it.
Why you say you got the truth?
Because I was born in it.
You was born in it. Tell me about how you was born in it.
I was conceived in a Fed joint, and my mom had me in Cook County Jail, Chicago, Illinois.
That's some real shit.
Yeah.
Now I want a rapper to come out and rap about that. You feel me? You understand me?
I gotta write a book.
This not play. This not playration. This is a real demonstration. You know what I'm saying? We really live that life. They rapped about what we did, not the opposite way. You understand me? So we gonna hit y'all. 66, episode 66, IGSTS, SF Mo in the grill pit. My man.
Yes, sir.
Get a flick up. It's my fault. Yeah. Nothing. Just. We could just chop it up, and you could just tape them.
Chavez from Chicago, Illinois, son of Milton Kelly. You know, here in the grill pit with the guys, expressing real thoughts with no filtration, no. All unadulterated truth.
Voice of the voiceless.
Yeah.